by day, a social media officer. By night, I'm a social media officer. It's like a 24-hour thing. Now, when people hear what I do for a living, they kind of get this slightly odd look on their face, and it's sort of a mixture of a little bit of disgust with quite a lot of envy. And they sort of say, does that mean you play on Facebook all day? I mean, I'm a professional. I play on Twitter all day. But this is not about my social media use, this is about 43 lovely participants, because until recently by night I was also a student on the University of Edinburgh MSc in e-learning programme. Glad we're in. And I did some research on how people use social media for their continuing professional development. And the first thing I found out was that no one really knows what continuing professional development actually is. The journals don't agree. And I asked all the people who were taking part in my work to say if they took part in continuing professional development, and they said yes. And then I said, what does that mean? And they said, ooh, not sure. But they're all doing it, which is superb. So I thought I would share some of my more festive findings. And the festive findings relate to gifts, because Christmas is all about the gifts. And what I found was that people were exchanging gifts. This is most of how they did their learning in social media. So they would see a tweet and that would have a link on it, and that was a bit like swapping a chocolate orange. They would see a reference to a blog post that was really useful, and you know, that's a little bit like some bubble bath. You'd occasionally get something a bit rubbish, more like an Asda slipper, and very occasionally get something superbly useful or superbly fantastic, or like a Fabergé egg. So you have people with these quite complicated networks they're building up. Some people were kind of getting a reputation for being the people who only give out bubble bath. And that's okay, you might swap presents with them. And people who only give out chocolate oranges, and I'm of the opinion that chocolate is always good, so that's fine. But you also have people who give nothing but Asda slippers, but an occasional Fabergé egg, and it's generally fine to like not have them in your network all the time. You'll just look at the Fabergé egg that they've given someone else. Now all of this kind of swapping of little bits of gifting is fantastic, but is it learning? You know, it's little bits of information, it's stuff being exchanged, it's like Secret Santa, it's a bit of a surprise sometimes. But there's a dark side to this stuff. There are bad presents. How many of us, just raise your hand, have ever had a bad present, a bad, inappropriate, not right for you kind of present? Yeah, even in the dark, I can see that's most of us. Okay. Keep your hands raised if you've ever told the person who've given you the bad present that it was a bad present. Just a few of us. There are a few of us, fantastic. We are being fantastic in helping their learning process. We are scaffolding them in their gift-giving technique. They will learn from this. It's very important that you let people know, actually, if they're sharing a gift that's not quite right, because it can have bad consequences if you don't tell them. Take, for example, my mother. A couple of years ago, she gave me the unique gift of a blue beach sandal ceramic tea light holder. Marvellous. I didn't want to say anything to her because that would have been quite embarrassing. It would have made her feel bad. That's not good. And so the next year, I opened up this lovely box, and inside was a yellow, wedge-heeled ceramic shoe. Didn't even have a tea light holder. Wasn't even useful. And at that point I had to step in and help her with her gifting process. Obviously the downside of when you do give people constructive scaffolding support with their gifting is you don't generally get a gift again. But it's very important to do. If you take one thing away today, it's definitely that you should do that. And on social media, what I found people doing was they didn't feel happy correcting anybody in public. So they only told them things were wrong in private. Which meant that if you went back and had a look at these conversations on blogs, you went back and had a look at these Facebook posts, you had a look at any of these kind of artifacts they were sharing, these gifts, you could read the really inaccurate stuff and be learning from it, and no one ever corrected you. Which is a little bit dangerous. So I want you to take on board this scaffolding. I want you to, at this Christmas, tell the people who give you bad presents that they've given you bad presents, and why, constructively. Because you're helping them to learn. This is pedagogically valid behaviour. So in that spirit, I thought it'd be good. This is my first Bright Club. I'm obviously a little bit diseased. If you could give me a little bit of feedback on my performance. So, right, so, who's going to get started? Actually, I think I've run out of time. You've been lovely.